about it, you've now got your arms folded, but if you look around your table, you'll probably notice that some people have their arms folded the opposite to you. Some are right over left, and some are left over right? They're opposite of each other. Okay, so on the count of 3, I'm going to ask you all to do the opposite. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Half the people in the room are like, okay, 1, 2, 3. And you went back the same way. Okay, but some of you actually did the opposite. If you're doing the opposite, does it feel more natural? No, it totally doesn't, right? In fact, if you shook it out, everyone shake it out. If you just, sometime later today, just went back and just unconsciously did your own, you go back the natural way again. So here's the issue, is that some of us, we're creating value in a way that's not natural to us, which is why it feels like hard work. If you're doing anything that feels like hard work, you're already doing the wrong thing, right? But if you do what's coming naturally, you just naturally leverage it, and then you can naturally 10 times it, but it's got to be your natural way. So this is why it's so important to understand that the wealth dynamic square is based on opposites of value and opposites of leverage. So if we start with value, it's not left over right, right over left, it's up and down. This is your thinking dynamic. Some of us have an upwards thinking dynamic, some have a downwards, and they're the opposite of each other. You can't do both at the same time. So for example, we have some people here in the room who are the creators, right? Hands up, this is those who've done the test. Hands up who's a creator in the room. Brilliant, okay, so these are the creators in the room. And hands up who are the stars in the room. Stars, okay, so we've got the stars as well. These, both of them, creators and stars, are the ones who love to start things. They're great at starting things, terrible at finishing things, right? Because you're always moving so quickly. And it's because you have a particular way of thinking, which is the one which is what we call head in the clouds, because you're head in the clouds all the time, head in the clouds. So as a result, you have got a way of thinking, which is called intuitive thinking, and you have a very specific way that you create value, and the way you create value is through innovation. So someone like Steve Jobs or Richard Branson, they are creators, right? And they will always be starting new things. They'll have other people that will run those things. So some of you actually are creators, and you're busy trying to run the thing that you started, and you're really doing the wrong thing. Now, you're good at starting it, you're not good at running it. Now, you might think you are good at running it, because you're like, oh, but like, you know, I can see how to run it better than anyone else, right? But because you think fast, but thinking fast doesn't mean thinking well, right? So you'll always be the one that will make decisions quicker, but it doesn't mean you should be the one running it. Like Richard Branson, he's got 300 companies, he doesn't run any of them. It allows him to keep on being creative and creating new things. That's where the value really is. So where in your team, you have, some of you might have teams right now where you have multiple creators, and you're bumping heads with each other right now, because you all have the best idea, right? And so this is about, well, how do you actually get the right team leader in the right way to actually grow, especially as you start evolving the business as well, right? So that's a creator. A star is someone who's creating brand, not product. So Oprah Winfrey is a good example of that. So Oprah Winfrey will actually be creating a platform or a brand where she can shine a light on others. You know, Eckhart Tolle will sell more books by being on Oprah Winfrey than trying to basically create his own show. And Oprah Winfrey will sell more books by shining a light on Eckhart Tolle's New Earth than for her to be trying to sell her own book. So for each one, and then they'll actually make more by actually being on Jeff Bezos' Amazon, and he's a mechanic, he sells more books than anyone and didn't really buy any of them, right? So your value is someone else's leverage. So this is at the top, right? Then what's at the bottom? Well, think of someone like Warren Buffett. Has Warren Buffett ever created anything? Never, right? So Warren Buffett is someone down here called an accumulator. Hands up the accumulators in the room? Not so many, you see. There's actually more, but they're introverts, so they don't put their hands up. So these are the accumulators. And hands up the traders. Any traders? Even less. Now, by the way, if we were in Singapore, then you would see lots of hands go up for traders. Just so you know, America is not down here. It's not a tempo energy, right? This is ear to the ground. This is head in the clouds, ear to the ground. Ear to the ground is not intuitive thinking, it's sensory thinking. So sensory thinkers, think of it like a sprinkler instead of the jet hose, right? It basically is where you just kind of a soft feel of what's happening. There's no big plan, right? Like you go to someone like Warren Buffett, you say, what's your plan for 5 years? He goes, I don't have one, because 5 years time, who can know what's going to happen, right? But I know I'll be ready for it at that time. So they don't create value through innovations, they create value through the opposite, which is timing. Timing is knowing when to buy, when to sell, right? It's also about service. So, you know, someone like George Soros is a trader, right? He's always about timing the market. You know, Warren Buffett, same thing.